Good morning. I want to share something with you that I picked up from Bob Goff in his latest book called Catching Whimsy. It's got 365 readings. It's a daily devotional thing. In Psalm 145, verse 4, it says, "One generation commends your works to another. They tell of your mighty acts." So what's our legacy going to be? Bob Goff goes and talks about his grandparents, and it starts off by saying, my grandparents lived in a castle and I had a room in it. I'm just, man, I read that and I'm like, that sounds like the coolest thing ever, right? Well, actually it was in the city of San Jose and it was a tract house. But his grandparents said, it's a castle. I can remember as a kid, we had these friends, they're called the Regans, and they had like a pirate ship in their basement, this wooden wheel and all this netting and all this stuff. And when I was a little kid, it was magical. It was awesome. And then I remember I went back as a teenager. I'm just like, this is just a basement. But in my mind's eye as a kid, man, it was awesome. But he really believed that it was a castle. And they painted their castle bright pink with white trim. And they told him that these were the colors of true castles. The truth of the matter is his grandparents were really poor. And they lived on Social Security. And when he says poor, he says, I mean really poor. They lived on a few $100s each month. All they had was what came from Social Security. But they had special meals there. But he figured this must be how kings and queens live. Every night his grandparents would eat TV dinners. And it's funny, as I was picturing it, I was thinking like microwavable ones, but these were the old tin ones, and you had to peel and they took, a long time to bake in the oven. But they told them that somebody in their castle made them for them. Obviously the person's name was Swanson. Now I realize for some of you, this is going to be over your head because it's just too old. But, and that this person that made them delivered them up on aluminum trays. He believed that too, and he marveled at the whole tinfoil over the apple cobbler, and so it would brown on the top. I mean, so here are these folks that were really kind of living in poverty, but they made it really special for their grandson. And he also said that with the type of frozen food that they were always eating, they probably had enough sodium in their bodies to compete with Lot's wife, if you know what I mean. She turned to a pillar of salt. But to Bob's vantage point, they were living the dream, living in a castle with all their meals prepared for them, and they made him feel like royalty when he went over there. Well, I guess he went there when he got sick, because he said if I got the sniffles, I'd go to my grandparents' castle, and his grandmother would butter his toast for him and then cut it into triangles. She said the toast cut on diagonal would make me better more quickly than, and this was just an old castle recipe. He said decades later, whenever he gets sick, he always butters his toast and carefully cuts it into triangles. And you know what? It works. But he says love has a way of doing that. It has healing power. When you're gone, what's going to remain? What are the things that you pass along? Hopefully people are going to remember the love that we have for them, the little things that we did, the things that made other people feel special, that let other people know that they meant a lot to us. I think of a song by Neil Young. There's a line in it that says, "Pardon my heart if I show that I care, but I love you more than moments I have or have not shared." One of the things I found in preaching, it's not about us, but I do believe that we need to be transparent. We need to let people see how we're processing the word. And so there are times where I feel like I take a risk, but I feel like every time I've taken a risk, it's borne fruit. Every time I've opened up my heart and was vulnerable. I'm not saying I've never been hurt, but I know that it really reached somebody. And so I encourage you to live a life of love and pass that along to the next generation, whether it has to do with castles or TV dinners or toast cut in triangles. Let's pass the love of Jesus along. God bless you. Have a great week.